Welcome back. Thank you so much for the kind comments that you two guys at this date gave on the two last videos. I'll be honest with you, I was ready to jack it all in, but I knew there was a few of you out there that genuinely enjoy what I do. There's a lot of you out there that don't say a lot, but I know there's a few out there that do genuinely like what I do. So yeah, thank you for making the effort to type something out. And thank you for all the likes. 8 at the moment on this one, 8 on the last one. Thank you for that as well. Right, moving on. Now, battery tray. I know exactly why that's wobbling, and it was the gap that ran along here. So my slug weld that I've put on, because it looked like slug poo, it wasn't easy to weld because I couldn't get rid of all the paint, and I had to do it on low heat, and I don't know, I ain't quite got that thing set up right, so it's a bit of a mess, but I've plated it in. Hopefully now that bottom panel won't wobble around when the battery is in it, which is what was happening. The battery isn't sitting fully on the floor, and it wasn't supporting it properly. So we've done that this morning. The ammo boxes, I haven't put them back in, but I'm going to make some alterations to one of those, because if you remember, it was really close to the engine, and I've decided what I'm going to do is cut an angle out here across and then replate it, because I don't need all that room in the base. And there you go, give you an idea. Some of you probably don't like that colour, but I actually do. I hope you do. I want to do that Boston green all the way over the whole car except for this area here. I want to do that satin or matte black, that area there all the way along, including the door frames and the bonnet, just the bonnet, not the scull, just the bonnet, possibly the window frames as well. So if we do them black, we do the wheel arches in satin bed liner to match the bumpers. I think this will come out quite good. Haven't figured out yet what I'm doing about the colour of the roll cage, because I simply haven't built it yet. So at the moment all I'm doing is fighting like crazy to be able to move this up to here. And as I said to my boy this morning when he turned up, there's no point bolting stuff in the engine bay if I've only got to rip it all out again. It's just a pointless exercise. So that's what we're doing. We're getting it ready to start up and move. So I'm just redoing the battery tray because I really don't want to come back to that job. And the ammo boxes, I want to get that altered as well, so I don't have to come back to that job, so I can get them repainted. And we'll go from there. Way better. Still going to vibrate, not a lot I can do about that, but it's because it's touching there. It's going to be annoying, but I can always stuff a bit of foam under that. It really gets on my wick. Now I'm happy with that, so all I've got left to do now, from the underside I've got to drill a hole, a large hole, so I can run the red cable through. And then I need to sandwich 2 pieces of rubber, one underneath, one on top, smaller hole drilled so as it's sealed, and then that can go straight on alive, and the earth will go straight onto the framework. The solution to the problem, I can't cut that box out. It's not going to happen because the steel plate inside is in the way. So what I've done is I've raised the bracket height instead. As you can see, I don't know how good that one's going to be because there's one bolt that might move around. May have to put a join onto this and drill through that and plate it that way, but that one will stay, so we'll be fine with that. We just don't know anything about that one at the moment, and that is what is going on. So I will put those on when I've got the engine plumbed up, and not until. We've got a lot of stuff lying around, and this must be tormenting the hell out of some of you guys, because we've got like the bumpers already. You can see the back door painted. I like the exhaust tailpipe where it is, but it isn't going to work where it is, so we've got a new exhaust to make at some point. I mean, you've seen the engine bay layout, so you get a rough idea how that's going, but again, you don't get to see it all. At the moment I've got to strip all that lot, clean it up. The mud guards, well, you won't see them back on when when I start sanding and doing stuff to those, once I've got them at the correct height, and I've got 2 pieces of checker cut out for the tops, and the filler is all on and everything's smooth, they won't be going back on until it's out front. So none of this stuff's going on, so you're not going to see it fulfilled. When the roll cage gets started, it will get put on, it'll get welded together, but it won't be welded to the rock sliders, and the interior pipes that go in won't be welded to the exterior pipes. If I go down that route, you just won't see it until it has ended up out there. As I said to my son today when he said to me about that clutch, clean it out, it'll be fine. No, I've got a 35 mile journey to do to Bury St Edmunds, and the last time I built a hybrid I was driving it, I was only taking it to a little airfield about 10 mile away, that's all it was, and the clutch pipe fell off. I couldn't get it back on, all the fluid had come out as well, so I had no clutch and they had to come and rescue me, and they are not going to do that on this journey. So I need to make sure this is doing everything it's meant to do. I will have to run it round the block a couple of times, so we'll get it insured, and I will run it round the block a couple of times to make sure we're good. I'll leave it in the front garden for an hour ticking over, making sure the fans kick in the way they do, that I ain't got water boil over or anything. Not that that will give me a defined answer on whether it's going to boil on the way up there, but it will give me an idea. So you can see what I'm coming up against, which is why I'm not putting stuff back on, because I've only got to tear it off to get it down the alleyway. I think the nice surprise, the end result, the surprise at the end will be when I actually get it out the front and we start putting stuff on and welding everything in place and bolting everything on, and then you will see this to its true meaning. I've already put fluid in it and primed it up. The pipe's primed up. I put a cap over the end just to stop that from coming out. We'll screw that into the end of that over there. We'll put fluid in that. We'll loosen that off, and then we'll start bleeding it through. Right, well, it is raining, so I'll be brief, but the clutch is done. I had to wash down everything because fluid went everywhere, but watch. We've got full pressure all the way to the floor. But problem is I cut the rod down. That might have been a bit of a mistake. So possibly not, later on I might have to get a second brake unit with a new rod and switch the rods out, which will come with a clevis as well, which I'd much prefer to have for that. But we've got a clutch. Okay, so what did we do? Brake line, clutch line. The clutch is here, look, pipe for that is all bent in place. We straightened it out in the shed a little bit. So we've got a clamp to put on there that will sit like that. Then we've got to clamp it down there, couple to go along there, one over the back, and then that's done. That clutch is working, but we've had a problem with the brake. As you can see, it's weeping. I've managed to fracture it, although that was the one I wanted to replace in the first place, so I'm not overly bothered by it, but we've still got to straighten this damn thing out. But the car does sit on a skew anyway, quite a bit, so I need to push this back into its space where it was really, and see how level that in and go from there. We've still got that bottle to sort out, and all the hoses need dealing with. Like, we've got that hose here, I haven't got a clamp for that. I forgot to ask about that yesterday when I was at that shop. So we've got to find 2 spaces for 2 water bottles somewhere. We've got to make up a cover for the unit up there because we're done with that now. Pipes have got to be all put down properly and neatly, or about as neat as I can get them, bearing in mind that everything was made for a different position and I'm still a bit suspicious. So there's the bottle. I ain't got a clue of a square because the car's on the lean, but yeah, it's higher than the radiator, it doesn't get in the way of the bonnet, and I love it. Stainless steel bracket, so it'll not rot. The welds might, but we'll see how they end up. Where I put the triangulation there might right a little bit, polish the bottle up like I said I was going to do, as best as I can get it. It's way better than it was before. So now I've got to figure this bugger out. That's a tricky one. I can't weld to it at all. I've got no more aluminium stuff, otherwise I'd cut that off and blank that hole up straight away, but I don't have the capability, so what you see is what you get with that. So that's going to have to tuck somewhere in there, so I think I am going to have to put the okay, there we go, one expansion bottle and one washer bottle. That one's on stainless steel brackets, but the bottom bracket, there's two brackets, bottom bracket looks to me like it's going to need a bolt running through that because it just doesn't feel strong enough. And this one has a little bit of wobble. I'll either weld a plate there and then bolt it through here, or, well, that's probably what I will end up doing when the welder come out next. So yeah, so that will get readdressed when I get closer to the windscreen and the washers. That one will go on pretty soon. Before I do any more in here, I've got a brake line to replace, brake lines to screw down. They do need to be done now, so that will have to come out and they will have to be put in place. All of them. Some of them are going to be really awkward. This has got to be straightened up, and I hope I don't break it because that one goes a long way. I don't think it goes through a T. Yeah, it does go to a T-junction over there. So yeah, we've got a lot of work ahead of us as yet, and that one here needs replacing. So I've got to make a plate for that tomorrow. I might do it tonight when I'm bored. I've got to order or get some more of those self-tap screws. There is a proper name for them. I cannot remember. Forgive me. I don't remember everything that go on. So once we've got the water system put in, and I'm happy with it, because that's going to be permanent, I will take the hip rockers off, give them a clean up, clean the carbs up, and put them back on. Then the ammo boxes can go back in. Brakes will be done by then. The clutch is done now. A bracket, and here we go. There it is. It's squashed up. It's been bead rolled, so it's got a little bit of holding strength. First pipe has already been fitted. Second pipe, it's got to be removed, hence the stubby screwdriver, and we're going to cut a piece of that blue stuff out down there because that's all that's spare. That's just a feedback pipe, that's all that is, and we'll shove that one on and we'll put the two lock nuts on, and another job is done. And we'll top it up with hydraulic oil. And there are no more bottles to fit. That's the last one. The next stage of this engine bay is to plumb all the water system up. But before I do that, I want the fuel tank, which is over there, in. So we've got to make some modifications to that today because of the filler spout. And I think what I'm going to do, when I take that checker plate out, whatever space is left over, I'm seriously thinking about, where is it? That one, welding up that gap, and there's a gap at the bottom here, look, quite a big one and all. That's an AdBlue tank, so I was going to drain that out and use that as an auxiliary tank, and over there on that fuel tank, if that fuel pump's any good, and I don't know if it is, I'm going to take the fuel pump off, have a third pipe to the lid of that tank, and I was going to have a secondary tank and a switch to fill it up, so I have got about a jerry can and a half, probably a good gallon, a good sizey gallon or more of fuel to pour into that tank if I find myself in trouble, and it has happened. Okay, so I've cut that blue pipe a little bit too short. I'm not really that bothered by that, if I'm honest. It's got to be replaced anyway because it's all frayed up. I think this is years of power washing a fire engine down that's caused that to go the way it has. So yeah, we're going to replace that. plus it don't match everything else anyway. But yeah, there you go, another bracket done, another bottle fitted, another problem resolved. Okay, we are moving forward quite rapidly. Now I need to get in the back of this thing, and no I don't, I need to get that in the shed. Okay, you can see the size of that hole, and that was pretty much the entire plastic fuel tank taking that space up. But I can't find one in Ipswich, so I gave up. And I didn't want to order one, it was quite expensive, and to be honest I didn't want another plastic one in there. I really wanted a stainless one in there, which is what I've got. A bit dented up and warped, but it'll do what it needs to do. So I've got to take that bar out temporarily and make some fixing brackets somewhere. I'm not quite sure how this is going to happen, so what I might do is run some bars along the top of this and weld them on each side, and then drop it down on top of the chassis with some flat plate, and then bolt straight through with some self taps. This is going really well. I've had to cut that pipe off and I've put a bigger one on, and I've overhauled it and welded it in place. Looks sealed, hope it is. The problem if it isn't, can't test it, because I suddenly realised that I can't get the bloody water out properly without heating it all up, which will probably warp the tank even more. So that's as far as I've gone. I've drawn some lines, but I think I'm going to ignore them, and I'm just going to, well, I'm going to take note of that one, but I want that to sit above the chassis. So, and I did say this was going to sit a lot higher, so the crossbar I've put in the middle is going to have to be sliced and diced so I can get access to that. Right, solid 4 bolts in total, and there is pop rivet nuts, these around the chassis. Yeah, hopefully that hasn't lost this. That looks a bit distorted to me, but we had one side that was sitting higher than the other on that plate, but no, that one isn't. So yeah, okay, there's a possibility it's twisted now, but it doesn't matter. It really does not matter. So next thing to do, I may not do it today because it's noisy, but I've got to cut a hole out here for the filler, and then I've got to make a pipe that comes off that and goes straight through the floor, and then I need to find a hose to make up what I haven't got. Now I might be lucky enough to use the original steel tube that I've got. I flatten a piece of it off. Where is it? There. So that might be, I might be lucky enough where I can cut that straight and then have just a hose from, a hose from this point to the tank, and then run that one up the wall, and then find another steel pipe to run down, and then weld the 2 pipes together, and then just have a hose at the top for the filler. And the filler of choice at the moment, and the reason why I'm not doing it today, because I'm not sure how I want to do this, is this, but it's not in the best of condition. I have others. I've got a few other bits and bobs lying around here somewhere. As you can see, it's seen better days, but that is removable, but I do not know what vehicle that came off. I can put just a straight piece of rubber on there if I have to, but what I can't make my mind up is to whether, oh, you pain in the arse. There you go. I don't know whether to build this into a little box at that angle. That might be better all round, or to just cut a circle hole out and have it on the outside, but that's going to get hit with brush. Right, multi-screen tonight. So I've made me filler cap, and that's off an old lorry. I don't have a key for it at the moment, but I'm sure we can come up with something. So that's going to go in an angle. We've got a hole drilled at the bottom, and it will go in that position like so, and we'll tack weld it in place, and we've got a hose for the back. This came off a turbo system that I had, and we'll try and find some more pipe, something similar to that maybe, and then we'll whack that on, do it all up nice and tight, and then whatever sticks out at the end, you know, this square piece, I'm going to cut some more thin tin and I'm just going to blend it in, well, the pipe to the bottom of that, which I'm going to bend. Got a load of that over here, look, some pipe there, so we'll bend that and we'll weld that in at the bottom of this, and then we'll drill a hole through the body, either through the body or through the floor. I just ain't made my mind up yet, and we'll weld that in as well. Probably through the floor would be the best spot for that. That'll be the water drain and fuel drain if I get any residue in there. And I can't really do much more than that. Unfortunately, I couldn't get inside the tube to clean it, so it is a bit grubby in there, but we'll bed line in there at some point with we've got a clear pipe that goes on the end, so I'll go inside that. I'll take the cap off and we'll just bed line that all up in there and just see what we can do with it. If we take the cap off, as you can see here, hang on, it's difficult to do this stuff one-handed. We can probably run a sander around that, little round barrels sander, and just clean that all up, and then we'll be good to go. So that will get fitted tomorrow. We've got a hot day tomorrow. I want to get this job out of the way. My God, that's a hot one today. Friday, about 12. Oh God, made me jump. The door squeaked. Right, it's a bit tatty, but it works, and the whole thing's going to be covered in the same colour anyway, so there you go, one filler cap. I originally made it so it goes straight flat in, but suddenly dawned on me that fuel will come out, so I've done it that way instead. I have not got a key for that, but there are other caps with keys. So next, that's on. It's not the greatest, but it's there and it's bolted in. Just got to find a Jubilee clip for that hose, which is that one there. I've got to bloody well weld that up. Oh, it's flipping hot. And I've got to go in the yard because I haven't got any hoses left. I like nothing, so I need to make a hose fit that, and then we are ready to put fuel in. I've also ordered a fuel pump. That should be here next week. I've got to get a fuel filter from somewhere. I've also got to make up a circular disc, and I've got to try and find a sender unit from somewhere as well. I'm not really sure how that's all going to pan out, but sender unit's going to go in the middle of that, and then two pipes, one for return, one for out. We've got we've actually got a cap that releases air, so we shouldn't get a vacuum in that. I mean, that's the best I can get it. That was hard. That was really hard to do. So I'm gonna have a shower. I've had enough. It's hot. I'm black from head to toe. Big clip. Right, I'll see you Monday. Thank you for your likes and your shares and your views. Love your comments. Not many, but I do like your comments. Thanks for taking the time out to watch. I don't mind making and pratting myself too much. I'll see you next week.